Good morning.
Hello, Orna here again from ornaonline.com. I just want to continue on talking today about what we started yesterday. So yesterday we were talking about lessons that we learned, or lessons that I learned from my first triathlon. And I was talking about pull buoys in particular and how I felt that that had helped me with my confidence and ultimately to get through a really hard time that I had during my first triathlon. But today I want to talk about making sure that you're happy with your equipment. So, well, I didn't actually realize I was a Speedo fangirl until I picked up these to do this video because it would appear that I am a Speedo fangirl. So if you watched my video from yesterday, you'll see that I had my Speedo pull buoy, and now as I sit in front of you again, I have my Speedo goggles, my 2 sets of Speedo goggles. So these are the goggles that I started doing my triathlon training with and had absolutely no real issue with whatsoever, except that I kind of felt I couldn't open my eyes. I didn't feel uncomfortable in them. I didn't feel that they let in water or anything like that, but for some reason they just didn't seem to suit me when I was particularly down on the beach swimming. And so in the week or two before the triathlon, I decided to get some new goggles for myself. Now I ended up with these absolutely lovely goggles, but these are not the ones that I started out with. I started out with the Pro Rift, the Speedo Pro Rift. And the reason I started out with the Speedo Pro Rift was because they had been recommended by a lot of people, and I found them easy enough to buy. They were available in my local shops, so I was able to change them if there was any problems. And when I actually went swimming with them, I did find they were a little bit too big for me. They were absolutely amazing, other than the fact that they were a tiny bit too big. And because they were a tiny bit too big, there was a slight little gap just here in my eye, and that let the water in. So I brought my goggles back to the shop and asked them for an exchange, and admitted to myself, not admitted to myself in all fairness, but admitted to myself that maybe some female specific goggles would be the way to go. So these are the pair that I ended up with. You can see there that they are the Future Biofuse, female Future Biofuse, and I got these between the Pro Rift and these Biofuse ones. It was probably a week to 10 days before my triathlon. So say I got the Pro Rift on Wednesday. By Saturday I had them exchanged and was wearing these. And when I ultimately did my triathlon, the difference in the confidence that I felt inside, because of the fact that I had goggles that I knew I was going to be able to open my eyes no matter what. These goggles, they didn't let in any water on me. They suited me perfectly. And so continuing on, as I said, from our lesson yesterday, it's very important to find what suits you in particular. You know, you can read all the magazines and you can look up all the recommendations online that are everywhere about almost every product that you see these days. But in all fairness, each person is individual and each person will have their own things that they like and dislike. So find what's good for you and what works for you, because the more comfortable you are on the day of your race, the better obviously it's going to be for you. And knowing that you have full confidence in your equipment is one of the things that can create the most confidence in you. And particularly when you're starting out and you don't want to spend, because sometimes, let's be realistic about this, sometimes when you go to buy things or when you go to take up a new hobby or a new sport, you can find that all of the accessories that you need are incredibly expensive, and that in itself can hold you back. Let's not pretend that we're not at the end of a recession here, or well, hopefully at the end of a recession here, but these are things like the expenses of equipment or little accessories that might go along with any hobby that you have. can be very daunting and can hold you back. My Speedo goggles and my Speedo pull buoy were very, very inexpensive yet perfectly suitable equipment. And I have to say that if I was going to replace my goggles in a year or 2 years or however long I managed to get away with these ones, I'd probably go for something similar again, because once you get to know what's good and what's relatively inexpensive, you know that you can keep going back and getting them again. So I don't want this to sound like Speedo isn't a good brand, because as far as I'm concerned, Speedo is one of the best brands when it comes to things for water sport and everything like that. And the fact that it is so economical means that it's accessible to everyone. And that's what I wanted to point out to you, that these goggles and my pull buoy and even my swimsuit, which is again Speedo, Speedo Fan-Girl here apparently, but which is again Speedo, they're all relatively expensive, extremely accessible, and very good high quality products that can get me from novice to Iron Man. Iron Man, not the Iron Man, but the other Iron Man, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so I want you to think about your products, and don't necessarily assume that, you know, buying online is necessarily a good idea. I'm not putting down buying online. I work online. I'm not putting down anything to do with online. But there are some things that you need to be able to change or exchange in a short time. And I would definitely say that goggles are one of those things. The pull buoy is not. The pull buoy, yes, go ahead, buy it online. It's a one size fits all. Goggles, you should be able to change them if you need to within a reasonable amount of time, so that you are happy and content. So this is my message for today. Be happy with your accessories that you're going to be using for not only your training but for your actual races. If you're happy and comfortable, it helps to add to your confidence, which will help to add to your, I want to say relaxation, but I know that that's the wrong word. It will help to keep you calm on race day. If you know that your equipment is perfectly suited for you and is not out there, is not something that somebody else uses and you're just using it for the first time because you've been told to do it or because you've been told to try it. So make sure you're comfortable, especially with your accessories, and keep going. And as I said, Speedo is a great brand. Give them a try. I never noticed. I was such a fangirl, but I am. So that's it for today. And remember, I can do anything. You can do anything. We can do anything. Just got to put our minds to it. Take care until next time.
This has been an online production.